Hello, mamas. Cheers. I got my coffee. Also got my water. Yay to hydration. Alrighty, what are we doing today? We are up to week 3, day 3. So equipment that you are going to need for this session, Pilates ball and a bench or a chair, something sturdy and safe for us to do some incline elbow planks and some body weight hip thrust on. So I'm gonna have to move my water and my coffee, but that's okay. I'm just gonna get one more sipsies of my coffee before we get started. Hope you have all had a fantastic day. Just gonna pop all this down here. There we go. We're going to start off with our core and pelvic floor rehab. As always, important for us to be doing this as often as we can, almost daily, to really make sure we can build those strong neural connections from our brain to our core and pelvic floor. So it is all about repetition and correct repetition. So all those repetitions that aren't quite what we want to be don't really count. They do in a sense that we're building, but we still want to make sure that we're getting in the correct repetitions in order for us to be able to improve and progress. So we're going to start off with our breathing. We're layering these foundations: breathing, connection breath, TVA holds, then with the mini breath. Then we're going to do some supine elevators. Just a reminder, if you do have a tight pelvic floor, you will not do the elevators and you can sit in a stretch that I'll show you and focus more on relaxation. Yes, I told you the equipment we're going to need today is our Pilates ball and our bench. So laying on our back, if you need to use the side lying technique, if you still have some diastasis that we just want to protect, pull my shorts up here. Bring our feet up in, our knees bent. This is just going to take a little bit of pressure off the pelvic floor, which is what we want in those initial stages. We're going to focus on 10 breaths. So I want you to put your hands on your ribs, thumb on the back. I like to put my fingertips around the front. We're going to breathe in to our rib cage. I want you to feel your hands and your rib cage expanding. And we're going to breathe out. So we're not consciously doing anything with our pelvic floor, but I do just want you to notice how your pelvic floor is feeling as we breathe in. Breath 2. And out. Breath 3. So what you might notice is a little bit of spillover of that breath into the tummy. That's normal. But that kind of happens as or after the rib cage starts expanding. We can often get really tight in our back, our thoracic. That's why we do a lot of mobility work. So sometimes it can be a good cue to kind of breathe into the back of the rib cage to really help the back of the rib cage expand as well. Big breath. Really helping our nervous system here as well by taking these deep breaths. Bringing our body into a little bit more of a calmer state. Let's go one more breath here. Good job. Fully relaxing. We're going to be moving into our connection breath. So I like to keep one hand on my rib cage, one hand on my belly as well, so I can feel how my muscles are firing. We're going to breathe into the rib cage, release and relax. So I consciously want you to think about putting that pelvic floor into the basement. And as we breathe out, as we start breathing out, I want you to close your holes. Think about stopping urine, shutting off your vagina, closing your bum hole, stopping poo or a fart coming out. Then we're going to focus on lifting just a little bit to level 1. And then as we continue to breathe out, we're going to zip up from the lower TA up to our ribs. What we don't want to do, and what I want you to be really conscious of, is gripping down with those upper abs as we start getting that peak contraction. Breathing in, release, relax into the basement. Breathing out, close, lift, continue to breathe out, activate that TA, hold, release. We've got 8 more. We can really start, close, lift, breathe out. Picking up the pace here now. We're in week 3. If you've been practicing your program, this is rep 4. Breathe in, shouldn't be glute clenching, shouldn't be crunching through the abs. 5. And out. In, release, relax. Breathe out, close, lift to level 1. Keep breathing out, activate TA. It's number 7. Breathe in, release, relax. Pelvic floor relaxes to the basement. Breathe out, close, lift. Keep breathing out. Zipping TA up. Thinking about our abs coming together, not crunching down, coming together and lengthening. 2 more. In, release, relax to the basement. Out. Closing for 9. Breathing in, diaphragm comes down, pelvic floor relaxes into basement. The last one, breath out, close, hold, lift up. Keep breathing out, keep breathing out. TA tightens. You might even feel it in your back as well. That's normal. Remembering our TA wraps right from our spine, right to the front, from our pelvic bone all the way up to our ribs. Having that good connection to our TA is really important for pelvis stability, rib hip alignment. And relax, make sure you're fully relaxed. Take a breath in. I'm just going to close this door because someone is doing noisy things. Oh, there we go. Right, we're coming into our supine TVA hold with our mini breath. So again, I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit here. I'll go over the first breath with you to make sure we are doing it correctly. So on our back in that supine position, we're looking for that pelvis neutral. So remembering if our fingertips are pointing down, we have too much of an arch, or our pelvis is too tilted forward, so the front of our pelvis is forward. If our fingertips are facing upwards, we're too tucked under, our back is too flat. Pelvis neutral is when our fingertips are just nice and level, and for me that means I have a slight gap under my back, but that's okay. Okay, so our TVA holds with our mini breaths. So we're going to breathe in, rep 1, we'll go a bit slower, I'll talk through it. I'll try my best to anyway. I'm going to breathe in, release and relax, focusing on that connection breath. Ribs expand, diaphragm moves down, pelvic floor relaxes. As we breathe out, we close off all our holes, we lift up, coming for the ATA contraction. You want this probably around 70%. Now we want to focus on holding. This takes a lot of coordination, holding that lower core as we kind of release that upper TA to allow the rib cage to expand. We want to make sure we're taking a proper breath in. So a lot of women will kind of breathe into that upper chest. Still breathing into our rib cage. And as we breathe out, that upper TA should activate again, bringing our ribs down. So that's breath 1. Let's go for breath 2. Holding this. Breath 2. Keep this engaged. Breath 3. And you want to try and get tighter and tighter as we keep breathing out. Breath 4. And 1 more, let's go. Breath 5. And hold it. And release. Whew. If you find you start getting fatigued and you're really starting to kind of crunch down using those abs, let's just stop at the reps that you can do before that fatigue and the rectus starts taking over. We're just going to do 4 more here. So let's breathe in, releasing and relaxing that pelvic floor. Breathing out, closing holes, lifting. Breathe out to about 70% contraction. Keep this lower TA engaged. Breathe into those ribs. 1, 2, trying to get a bit tighter each time. 3, up TA, kicking back in with each breath out. 4, 1 more. 5, and release. Breathe in, release, relax. Breathe out. Close holes, lift. Mini breath 1. Let's pick up the pace. Mini breath 2. Mini breath 3. Mini breath 4. Mini breath 5. Breathe in. Make sure everything releases and relax. 2 more, let's go. In, pelvic floor to basement. Breathing out, closing, lifting, zipping up that TA, holding contraction. Breathe in. 1, 2, getting as tight as we can. Bring it in. 3, 4, and 5, and release. Woo, got 1 more, making sure we're getting that full release and full relaxation. Last one here. Breathing in, releasing, relaxing that pelvic floor. It goes down into the basement. Breathe out, hold, lift. Keep breathing out, TA activation. Let's go for our mini breaths. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 more, 5, and release. Well done. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay, itchy bites. Mosquitoes have been really bad lately. Have a bit of a rest here. We're going to go into our elevators. If you do have a tight pelvic floor, you want to stop here. I don't want you to do the elevators. I'll give you 2 positions that you can work through in holding. First one, we stay in this supine position. This is if you have a tight pelvic floor. Depending on your flexibility, you may be able to bring your knees to your chest. You may be able, or you may need to put your hands underneath your knees. And in this position, you're just going to do some deep diaphragm breathing. It's breathing into the rib cage, into the belly, and really focusing on relaxing that pelvic floor. Another position for my tight pelvic floor mamas can be in our child's pose. So again, wherever your flexibility allows, whether it's with your bum up a little bit higher, or if you can sink down. And then this position as well, you're just going to do some deep breathing. Really focus on expanding that rib cage and relaxing the pelvic floor. For the rest of us, for our mamas who have a weaker pelvic floor, or maybe you either don't have a tight or a weak, we're still going to be working on the strength and endurance of our pelvic floor with our supine elevators. So we're going to be doing 5 reps here as well. Just going to fix up my shorty shorts again. Okie doke. So I'm just going to put my hand on my rib cage and on my belly again, and you'll often see me do this as well. It's just to help me really visualize. I'm a very visual learner. So yeah, really, I visualize my elevator. I visualize my holes closing off, my pelvic floor lifting, and then an elevator movement. All right, let's go in for set 1. I'm going to breathe in. We're releasing and relaxing so that pelvic floor is going down into the basement. We're going to breathe out up to level 1, so that's just nice slight support. Keep breathing out. We're going up to level 2. Keep breathing out. We're going up to level 3. Hold it and release. So what we don't want to be doing as we're coming up to that peak contraction is clenching those glutes. We also don't want to be using those abs again, so crunching down to try and get that peak activation. What you might feel as you come up from level 2 to level 3 is your TA kicking in, which is normal. That deep core assists with a peak activation. Just no crunching, no trying to push down, and no glute clenching. 4 more reps, breathing in, releasing, relaxing, pelvic floor goes down into the basement. We're going to breathe out, close and lift for level 1, level 2, level 3, and hold, and release. Breathe in, pelvic floor goes down into basement, breathe out, level 1, level 2, level 3, and release. We've got 2 more. Breathe in, pelvic floor relaxes. Level 1, level 2, level 3, and release. We've got 1 more. Make sure we're fully releasing and relaxing that pelvic floor. That lengthening is just as important as contracting. Breathing in, release, relax. Breathe out, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Good job. And release and relax. Let's take a few deep breaths here. We'll go 2 more breaths. Breathing in. And out, and 1 more. Well done. All right, let's have a rest. I'm going to get into our strength session. Going to have a sip, where have we gone, of my coffee. And of water. We've got to hydrate and caffeinate. All right, abdominal session, starting off with our cat camels for some spine mobility. We have marches, reverse plank lift, elbow plank, glute bridge, biohydrant, hip thrust, and normally you'd have your supine powerlift press, but we're just gonna, for ease today, do some gentle rotation. So coming onto our hands and our knees, making sure that our wrist is underneath our shoulder. It's just good practice to start off in that pelvis neutral position, which in tabletop would look like this. Not here, not here. We also want to be conscious of how we're loading that upper back. So a lot of mamas, because you are feeding and from pregnancy, it is quite common for you to be around in this position. So this is exercise is a great time to practice getting a little bit more of that neutrality in through that upper or thoracic spine area. So when we're in this position, we want to try and avoid being up here. Really let that thoracic come into that more neutral position and those shoulder blades away from our ears as well. So as we breathe in, we're going to be coming into an extension here. And really want you to take the opportunity to fill your belly here and get a nice big stretch in through that tummy. If you are newly C-section, you might just want to take it a little bit easier here, but it is really important for you as well to get that length through the abdominals here. And as we breathe out, I want you to lift up your core and really get into that nice big flexion. 1, and we're going to go in for 2. We've got 10 reps here. You can really try and sink into your shoulder blades as well as we come into that extension. Get some range in through there. 2. 3. 4. 5, and don't be scared to breathe. I think a lot of mamas, maybe you just haven't breathed like this before, but I really want you to pronounce that exhale through your mouth is really going to help you activate your deep core. One more. Good job. Back into neutral position. We're going to start off with our marches. We've got 10 reps laying on our side, rolling onto our back. All right, so next week we progress with our movements too, which is very exciting. Okay, let's go. 10 alternating reps. Breathing into the rib cage, we're breathing out, connection breath, really activating that deep core to give as much stability through the pelvis as possible. Yes, this contraction is really important to bringing that leg up, but so is that eccentric movement. Eccentric loading is going to work your muscle. I think there was even a recent study that said better than a concentric. I don't know to what degree. Breathing out for rep 2. So we really want to create as much stability and tension as we can so we're not rocking and our pelvis isn't shifting. In and out. Picking up that pace because we really want to work on that mind muscle contraction and your endurance as well. Breathe in and out. We can also start bringing in our mini breaths. So rather than fully releasing, we can keep that tension and just do our mini breath in. Ooh, I'm gonna say that was 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, last one, 10. Great job. Coming into our reverse plank lift on our side, propping ourselves up. So if we have our legs closer, a little bit harder, legs easier, Going to work a little bit more hamstrings, legs out a little bit harder. Just find where's comfortable for you. And then you can make progressions as we go. But again, this exercise progresses next week as well. Making sure that our fingertips are pointing towards our butt. This exercise is great for our upper back, shoulder stability as well. So breathing in, always releasing and relaxing that pelvic floor. We're working at full range. Breathing out, contracting. Breathe out, activate the TA first, and then come into your movement for 1. Breathing in. So again, if we can keep the tension here, that's great. If you find you need to fully release and reset, that's all good too. Or even if you can hold the tension for 2 up to 5 reps, and then you need to reset, that's fine. So I'm practicing my TVA hold with mini breath here, so I'm staying tight. And as I breathe in, I'm just letting go of that rib cage. 5. Have a little breather here, full reset. In, out. 6. Making sure we're using that breath. Activating first. Stabilizing first, then lift. 7. Let's go, mamas. 8. 2 more. 9. And last one. 4, 10. Whoa, that really works the triceps and the posterior chain. Ooh, incline elbow plank. Let's go. And then a glute bridge with 4 adductions. Another little coffee sip while I'm here. Let's move this a bit closer. So how we're going to set up for our plank. Elbows on the board. Chair, box, whatever you've got. We're going to connection breath. So breathe in. How long are we holding it for? 30 seconds. Let's go. Breathing in. Breathing out. One leg, then other. If you're finding that quite difficult and you notice a little bit of coning or doming into the abs, you can just stay on your knees. So from there, I'll breathe in, activate my TA, and then come into my plank. Let's hold it for 30 seconds. Oh, I'm shaking already. Let's go. Making sure that we're not tilted here. About halfway. You need to stop and rest that spine. We've got 10 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and down. Oh, that was actually really hard. I haven't planked in a long time. Probably need to include some more of those into my program. Glute bridge, ball abduction. So if you don't have a ball, you can use your foam roller or rolled up towel. We're going to place that in between our legs. We have 10 reps. Breathing in, releasing and relaxing that pelvic floor. Breathing out, connection breath. Squeeze, then lift. 1. At the top, I did a boo-boo. I was pushing my breath out. You can see as I push my breath out, it's coming down into my core and down into my pelvic floor. So I want to make sure that stays tight and lifted. Breathing in, release, relax. Breathing out, lift, and at the top, making sure that that core is lifted, that we're not pushing out into the belly. 2, release, breathe out, connection breath, contract, squeeze. So our adductors and having that strength in there really helps with our anterior or the front of our pelvic floor. So if you have weakness or incontinence, these exercises can really help. 6, 7, 8, 9, got one more. 10. Good job, fully release. Make sure those glutes are released, the pelvic floor is released. Nice and relaxed. Awesome, so now we have modified fire hydrant and our body weight hip thrust. I'm just gonna pull this forward a little bit again. So the fire hydrant is actually quite a difficult exercise. It looks really easy because you're like, wow, I'm just lifting my leg up a tiny bit. But it does take a lot of coordination. You have to have a lot of stability into your upper body, your core, and then really be able to isolate that glute muscle. So it's important to remember that isolation comes with stability. So we have to be really nice and stable. So I had a session with one of my postpartum mamas the other day, and what we found she was doing was kind of really shifting her weight to the side to lift her leg. Really not going to get much benefit of the exercise doing it that way. So we want to make sure that we're stabilizing. What that means is tabletop position, pelvis neutral. So we're not here and we're not too rounded. Nice neutral spine, neutral pelvis. We're going to breathe in. This position too is a really good opportunity to breathe into the back of the rib cage. Expand that rib cage. I'm going to go my right leg as my working leg. I'm going to breathe out, stabilizing with my upper body. So my lats engage, my shoulders come down from my ears. I'm going to shift my weight onto my stabilizing leg, so my glute activates. And then I'm gonna lift this leg off. So I'm super stabilized, I'm not shifting to the side, and from there, we're gonna do our reps. So if you can, wanna aim for our 10 reps. If you find you need to stop and reset between every rep or every couple of reps, that's fine as well. What you want to be careful of is that as you start fatiguing, we don't start tilting that pelvis. So we really want that pelvis neutral position. So I've got about 6 more to do. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 more. Good job. I'm going to swap sides and do 10 on the other side. Everything's nice and neutral. We're breathing in, release, relax. We breathe out. Shoulders away from ears, lats engaged. Moving on to my stabilizing legs, and this working leg's now free and I'm not shifting. I've got 10 reps. 10. So I'm doing my TA connection with my mini breath here. 3, 4, we'll get to 5, we'll stop, we'll reset. 5, breath in, release, relax. Breathe out. Shoulder blades down, engage those lats. TA lifted, transfer weight to stabilizing leg. Then we've got 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. 1, well done. Going straight into our body weight hip thrust. Coming onto my bench or my chair. You can kind of put your hands wherever's comfortable for you. We want to make sure that our legs are at least at a 90-degree angle when we're up the top of the box. We want to keep our chin nice and tucked. It's going to help keep our core nice and engaged. When we are at the top of the lift, like with my reverse plank, we want to make sure that this stays lifted and we're not pushing air, bread loafing, coning down into our core or pelvic floor. So let's come into rep 1 as I'm hinging down from the box. My ribs are staying, I'm not kind of scooping and moving my pelvis or flaring my ribs. So my pelvis is staying more neutral, bringing my chin down, my ribs. So I'm really focusing on that alignment, that rib to hip, hip to rib connection is really important to help reduce incontinence. So if we can establish, this is rep 2, good movements. Now while we're laying these foundations, they're going to carry over when we are doing our hip thrusts. 5, 6, 7, lifting up, ribs stay down, hinging from here. Pelvis and ribs are staying neutral. 10, and release. Well done. A little bit of a rest. We have 1 more exercise. So this one would normally be our supine pull-off press with a glute bridge, but we are going to swap it out for some twisting. Let's see how you go this week. So coming on our butt, want to be sitting nice and upright. So if your core is a little bit weaker, you can stay in this upright position. I have my legs quite wide. It's just how my hips feel the best and most comfortable. Hands are going to come together. We're going to breathe in and rotate. Bring this whole torso around. Breathing in, really good opportunity to breathe into that rib cage and get a good stretch. And as we breathe out, I want you to think of this coming together to come back to center. Now, if you have a little bit more core strength, you can start leaning the back and loading that core a little bit more, but making sure we're not getting any of that coning or bread loafing, doming. So let's start off with our 10 reps. I'm gonna see how I go, lean back a little bit. Need to stay upright, that's cool. Breath in, to the side, out to the center for 1. 2, good opportunity for thoracic mobility as well. 3, 4, breathing in. Pulling back to center. 5, 7, 8, 2 more. Last one. And good job. We might just come into child's pose today. That's the end of our abdominal session. Coming to child's pose, we're just going to take some deep breaths and practice a little bit of gratitude and appreciation for ourselves. So wherever is kind of comfortable for you in this position, I want you to take some deep breaths. Really relax. Take this opportunity to be amazed by our body and its capabilities. We were able to grow, carry, and birth our child with our body. And now we're here. Keep breathing. Working on ourselves for our physical, mental, and emotional health. Let's go 2 more deep breaths. Breathing in love and gratitude. Breathing out anything that isn't serving us. Good job. Yay, we did it! How exciting! So if you didn't catch the replay is going to be available in the on-demand section, which I assume is where you are now. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!